The Nigerian military says they killed a total of 2,352 terrorists and arrested 2,308. Now, the forces also rescued 1,241 kidnapped hostages in the first quarter of 2024 in different operations across the nation. Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, disclosed this during a media briefing in Abuja. He also said some terrorist commanders were killed during operations. While these are counter-terrorism efforts, it leaves room to wonder if these strategies are really effective as they ought to be. Although targeted killings have become a central tool in counter-terrorism strategy, their effectiveness remains unabated. Now, some potential impacts of targeted killings could be a decrease to terrorist groups' capabilities and also to increase the group's terrorist attack frequency and to serve as a de-radicalization catalyst, but these may just have short-term impacts. It is unlikely to have long-term detrimental effects on these terrorists. To make sense of this, I'm joined on the program by Dr. Seyi Adetayo, security and intelligence expert from Lagos, and also Femi Aratokunle, security expert from London. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me on the program, and good evening, Tayo, for being there as well.
All right, let me start off with you, Dr. Seyi. I mean, you saw there from what I've read, the Nigerian military rolling out their, will I call it achievement, or their efforts in the first quarter of the year. What do you make of the numbers and so far what they've been able to achieve?
Well, I think the announcement made is also part of military strategy to show that they are strong and they are making progress. And the fact that they are able to put numbers to it is a good development compared to before when they will make such announcements without being able to account for the amount of successes achieved. It's not that one is happy that fellow Nigerians are being killed, but the fact that two things here. One, it shows the enormity of the problem that they are dealing with. 2,000, that is talking about harmed 2,000 militants killed. That is enough to actually wage a civil war in some country. And that, for the fact that they're able to kill over 2,000 plus, and yet they will still have bandits still lurking around, shows that they still have a tall project ahead of them. Now, the second part of this is the fact that that also show that the numbers of people that are involved in militancy are increasing by the day. Previous activities or operations of the military have not yielded so much killing of militants or bandits in one quarter before. And now that we can have such number killed, and there's still a lot of them still carrying out operation, means that within the past few years, their numbers are growing. And what could account for that is the fact that the crime and criminality is becoming attractive to criminals. So more people are joining their ranks. Their ranks are swelling by the day. Before, when they describe militant commander, they'll say, oh, this one is having 1,000 strong soldiers, foot soldiers, this one having 500 strong. But what we are seeing now, militant commanders or bandit commanders having as much as 5 to 10,000, just one commander. And what can account for that is the ease at which they recruit. And what makes the recruitment so easy is the fact that we have not actually seen in the past the level of response in terms of how we deal with people who have been arrested, for criminality. So many people are enticed or encouraged to join their rank.
I mean, there are several low, on this, Shay, there are several low-hanging fruits. But let me go to Femi on this one. Now, Femi, of course, I read out some numbers where the Defense Headquarters said it neutralized at least 2,352 terrorists, arrested about 2,000 more plus, and also rescued 1,000 plus kidnapped hostages in different operations nationwide. That's between January and March. Now, let's look at all of this achievements vis-a-vis the current reality. What does this reflect in terms of Nigeria's security?
Thank you so much for having me on this program. Dr. Adetayo, thank you for your analysis and for what you've actually contributed towards it. However, I'm not going to say the military are not doing their best. They have actually contributed, and they're actually doing so much to make sure that the country is safe, that the members of the public are equally safe as well. However, with all the statistics being given by the military, that's fine. But we are yet to see the statistics of how many of all these criminals that are actually being or suspected militants are actually being released. And if we have these numbers as in swelling up, rising up, and gathering up every day by day, do we have a data for them so that we can tell if they're actually going back to commit the same crime or not? If we're not having all this, that means we have a lot to do. Having said that, those that have been rescued from their den, obviously some of them must have been taken to hospitals. Have we seen how many of them are actually with long-term effects of what has really happened or not? If we've not seen all this, then that means we have a lot of room to really, dig around and, make sure that we clean it up. Having said this again, what is equally the welfare of our military, our security services, dealing with all this issue at the moment? Are they actually in right sense of their mind to deal with this situation, or they're actually being catered for medically and with welfare and other kind of, training per se to make them work effectively around the country that we have today? So these are issues that I believe they need to look into and see how they can actually work better with all this. Having said that, at least for Q1 in 2024, we just have to give them the pass mark. They've done so
okay,
well.
so for you, it's a pass mark, right?
Well, for me, it's a pass mark, yes.
Okay, how about you, Shay?
Yeah, see, like I said before, this is a very big development. If we can account for almost 5,000 people in Q1 being taken out of the forest, that's a big win. 2,000 plus neutralized, 2,000 plus arrested, and about 1,000 released. That's a very big achievement in just one quarter, which means that the next Q2, Q3, Q4, we should, if this momentum is being sustained, then we should be looking at over 20,000 of them, and that will actually also reduce their capacity to recruit, because the information will spread very fast. That these are numbers of bandits that have been killed.
Is because still within this
just 3 months.
Still within this Q1. Okay. The reason why I'm asking, sorry to interject, but the reason why I'm asking this is, I mean, just from January alone to still within the frame of the Q1, we've seen quite a number of abductions and kidnappings and even killings, happen across many parts, of the country. And the big question being asked is, most of these efforts seem to be countermeasures, not preemptive. I don't know if you get what I mean. So where you have intel and then you are able to forestall some of these attacks, and before they even happen, you are able to, put it on lockdown. But more often what we see is reactionary approach to many of these attacks. Yes.
Okay. Now, it's so easy for us to speak to activities of military if you are not a military man yourself.
The reason why it's easy is because we feel that, I mean, they are professional or professionals, and they should be in the best position to handle situations like this.
I'm just trying to make a point.
Okay.
Because we really don't understand the tradecraft involved in military operations, especially security. There are lots of information that they had and they are working with. If before you can say they were reactionary, but you cannot account 2,000 plus killings, 2,000 plus arrests to reactionary. That is to show you that this must have been a well-planned operation to have achieved this success before. This kind of numbers will be the numbers of civilians killed or the numbers of people kidnapped. But we are now seeing this kind of numbers of bandits being killed and arrested. This is what we've not had in the past. And that is to show you that I think the military's hold no prisoner. That is their strategy this time around.
You said the military strategy now. Sorry, we lost you for a moment there. Can you please recap? You said the military strategy now is what?
It's more of hold no prisoner.
Hold no prisoner.
Yeah, it's more of you killing them this time around. And those that are able to surrender, then you give them. But those who are not able to surrender, just neutralize them straight up. And to me, I feel that's the best approach this time around in addressing this. Now, let me say something here. About a week ago, we're talking about the Kuriga school children that were released. And government said that it did not pay ransom. I've had quite a number of people, questioning whether ransom was paid. And I remember in one of my interviews, and I said, yes, considering the fact that all the children were released unharmed and there was no sign of people being killed, then it is not, this one does not look like a kinetic operation. It is more of, a back channel operation used in releasing those children. Now let me now tell you what can be benefited from such. It means that you can, if you understand who you are dealing with, and in order for you to be able to get what you want, and also presenting what they want, then you can give them certain conditions to make both parties to have a win-win. And part of it might be intelligence that can actually help you to achieve more. And that's just, and when you have such, and then you're able to carry out pinpoint operations where military, here assets are being deployed and target areas are being captured and neutralized, and you begin to wonder, how are they able to? So there are lots of things in which, or processes in which the military can adopt for them to use smaller issues to make bigger, get bigger results. And so if you are not someone with military background, you may not understand the tradecraft.
I mean,
but by and large, what I just want to say here is that this does not look like a reactionary result or achievement. This looks so much like a clear-cut, well-planned, and excellently executed military operations.
All right. I'd also like to know Femi's take on this. I mean, oftentimes, many of these operations are usually reactionary, where the abductions or the attacks have taken place, and then we see, security operatives swing into action and try to sort of forestall order and peace and maybe rescue those abducted. But the question right now on the lips of many is, when do you think that our security operations, is getting towards being more, is it pre-actionary right now than reactionary?
All right. You see, let me start from where Dr. Sheyi stopped. He said so well, and the fact remains The military are doing their best. Intelligence gathering is actually working at the moment right now. However, the local chiefs within all these community, the governors in all these states that we're talking about, where we have this all-star situation, and the CSOs to different establishments within this context are really not doing their job. Or should I say, or let me put it to you this way, we are yet to see them work effectively to bring out the good work of the military. Because we're putting so much on the military and we're really not talking about the down ones, which are the CSOs, the security managers, the supervisors, the patrol beat officers. What exactly are they doing? Do we lack the manpower? Do we lack the welfare? Do we lack the materials they're going to use? What exactly do they need so that such events will not happen again? We're looking at the bigger pictures, but no one is actually looking at the smaller pictures, which are really the key ones. Do we have the community security system in place to check what is what? Are they well empowered? Do they have the real training to let them understand their community? How can they actually know who is a stranger or who is not a stranger within their neighborhoods? There's idea.
I mean, right now, Femi, you're talking about community orientation in all of this, how the host community can also be involved, or communities across can be involved in all of the security architecture. Do we see, I mean, that's another key area in terms of community involvement. We saw the very unfortunate event that happened in Delta State, the Okwama incident. And of course, it brought to the fore quite a number of issues. Femi, I'd like you to land, on your line of thought so that I can hear that of Sheyi.
Okay, right. You see, what I'm trying to say in all of this is this. Until we get this orientation of how do we really train our security operatives, security supervisors, security chief managers, and all the rest, not within the community, in schools and all other departments, businesses, and marketplaces as well. They need to really differentiate and give them certain kind of training program that will work and that will be more like a synergy to assist the military and the police. We cannot just leave it to the police and the military only. We individuals ourselves, we've got jobs to do. The businesses around all these communities and states, they've got jobs to do. The chairman and the local government chairman, the obas, the chief, the emirs, all of them too, they've got jobs to do. So it has to be a complete roundtable synergy job that will make all this crisis go down. If we're just leaving it for the military alone, it's not going to work, and we might end up seeing more recruitment within them, and we now see people panicking and just emigrating away from their various neighbors and states and local government to other places.
All right, so I'd like to move to Sheyi on this one. I'd also like to know your thoughts on community involvement, when it comes to the security apparatus or the security system, particularly vis-a-vis interaction between the community and the security personnel. Do you think that recently, over time, trust has been able to be built between many of these security personnel and the host communities? Because, I mean, take, for example, what happened, the unfortunate incident in Delta State, the Okwama community. I would like to know your thought.
Okay, number one, most of these communities are the one that are actually bearing the pain, and it is more of a catch-22 situation for most of the villages, especially in the northwest and the northeast, even in north central places like Niger State, Nasarawa, and the rest that have been, facing this problem. Reason being that we expect the communities to provide intelligence support to the government troops. At the same time, the bandits also are warning them not to provide support to government, and also to be their own eyes to promising them that they will allow them to cultivate their lands, and they should pay taxes to them, failure of which they will attack. And because they are brutal and they are not operating under any any global convention as to how they deal with people. They kill these people, mercilessly, and this instills fears in the community. So most times, the community are forced not to speak when we expect them to speak and give us information. And many of these community leaders have become victim because out of fear and they try to obey the bandits. The military tends to see them as betraying the government and probably being an agent of the bandits. And most times they are either arrested, dethroned, or removed from power. It's only when you are in those communities that's when we will understand what they are actually going through. I understand the direction where my friend Femi is actually coming from, but I think we need to look at the bigger picture. Those are issues that are actually on ground, but there are things that I feel that we will need to address much later. There are more important things right now that if we don't put them in place, even when we start that, we cannot achieve anything. And that is our criminal justice system. I've been speaking about our criminal justice system, that we are not making crimes and criminal acts to be, something that people will deter from.
I believe we'll get to that, Shay.
Sorry, let me quickly land on this.
Okay.
Let me quickly land on this. You can build your thoughts on what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I've asked on different platforms, on TV stations, and newspaper that they should show me one kidnapper or terrorist that was arrested in the last 3 years and has been successfully prosecuted. One. If we have not been able to present someone arrested in the year 2001, and as at this 2024, the person has been prosecuted and successfully prosecuted, has been sentenced, then we have a problem with our court system. It's not just about training the soldiers, the law enforcement area, providing equipment. If the prosecution, which is the court system, is not equipped to handle the enormity of what we have on ground, then we'll have all those people in prisons and they will organize prison break. They'll find themselves into the community, or they are right there in the prison awaiting trial, and they are from there recruiting more people that are committing crimes, or those that they are leading are still seeing them as lords, and they are still controlling their troop. There are several cases of people inside the prisons operating kidnap syndicate outside, and they are successfully cashing out. And one of the things that I call for is that if you really want to show that we are serious, the president should call all the governors of the 36 states and tell them and give them ultimatum. All the people that have been convicted and condemned to death in your state, and no governor has been able to sign execution warrant or order in the last 30 years, that the governor should go and sign. That's why they are elected as governors. If they sign that, and those that are already condemned to death are executed, you will imagine the kind of earthquake that will vibrate across all the prisons in Nigeria. I can tell you, the vibration will go into every criminal gangs. They will shake. Many people will leave criminality instantly.
The funny thing, I think it was this same program. I once had a conversation on live TV like this with a legal practitioner who raised this same question as to why it's hard for many governors to sign, capital punishment, particularly people that, have been condemned to, to the gallows. And one of the issues he raised was that there are no hangmen in Nigeria. I don't know if you got that.
That is not true.
No hangmen, but we'll leave that and get back to that after this break. So maybe I'll take your reaction on that one. But stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. This is Still Secure the Continent on New Central Television. And on today's episode, we are taking a look at the review of the first quarter of security in the country, where the Defense Headquarters actually outlined some of their achievements. And of course, I still have on the program, there you have it on the screen, the breakdown of some of the achievements of the military in the first quarter of 2024, having killed about 2,000 plus terrorists, arrested 2,000 plus terrorists, also rescued 1,000 plus kidnapped hostages, recovered weapons and also ammunition in that number. There you have it on the screen. We still have on the program Sheyi and also Femi Aratukun. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
All right. Now, before we went on that break, I said something. You know, I had an interview, a conversation with a legal practitioner, and it was highlighting one of the reasons why, you know, it might be difficult for many, will I call it state governors now, to sign, you know, capital punishment once, you know, they're given that brief. One of the issues it raised is the scarcity of hangmen. It said it's one profession that a lot of people seem to shy away from. Now, I would like to link this vis-a-vis the criminal justice system, where some are even advocating that the issue of capital punishment should be expunged, that it's archaic, outdated, and maybe does not even serve as a true definition of justice, because the culprit really is not made to suffer, right? So for that reason, you know, why just kill the person straight up? So let's look, you know, let's make it broad enough right now. Let's look at the criminal justice system. The First Lady also advocated that it's not strong enough, particularly when it comes to issues of kidnapping, you know, that we're seeing across the country. So I would like to know your take. I'll go back to you, Sheyi, but let's hear from Femi first.
Wow, that's a very interesting topic. And if we look at the criminal justice system in Nigeria, if we look at the judiciary system in Nigeria, we can see that it's really, really weak, very weak, not strong enough. And because of its weakness, a lot of criminal activities seems to have, you know, taking advantage of its vulnerability. And equally, political members are not really helping, let alone helping the security forces, which is the military and the police. They are not really helping them. So if we want to boost their morale, let us see action speak the way it's meant to speak. What am I trying to say is this. Mr. Dapo, you brought out the statistics on your screen just now. And I could see recovered ammunitions and recovered weapons. How many of those weapons, how many of these recovered ammunitions have we seen, you know, being processed? So even know who owns these? Are these weapons from the police? Are they from the military in Nigeria? Where exactly are they from? If we want to really expand our judiciary system so that everybody can now walk the way they want to walk, we need to start from somewhere. Okay, those that have been prosecuted, are they given whole life sentence? Are they given mandatory life sentence? Are they given whatever we can call it that, okay, you know what? You don't deserve the right to live again. What exactly are we doing? If we want to bring back the system, let us bring it back. But talking about the fact that we don't have hangmen in the country, excuse me, what does it cost to train them on what to do? How many millions will it cost the police to execute people or the military to execute people? This is why sometimes the public might want to take justice into their hands, which we call the jungle justice. We're not saying that is the best way, but if we're not seeing the real true meaning of judiciary or things working the way it should work, then we might not really get hands in reducing or tackling this issue of banditry, terrorism, and what have we in the country today. Take, for example, what is going on in Lagos State. I read through social media what is going on in Lagos State today. It's now the phone theft within the market system, within the market area.
Sorry, I didn't get that. I didn't get that clearly. You said what you read that is going on in Lagos is what exactly? I didn't get that.
What is going on in Lagos State right now that somebody posted out on social media is about all these unknown people, unknown faces within the market area, you know, extorting members of the public, putting them into ransom situation to collect their phones so that they can pay their money. So
well, that information might not be verified anyway, but I mean,
of course it is verified, because when it was said, it wasn't said in a very funny way. There was specific area mentioned, and I've equally been a victim as well sometimes ago, some years ago in Lagos, within the CMS area. This was around between 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon on that bridge itself. So I know a lot of people have been victims I've been victim before, so I can equally recount or deals of what happened to me, but no justice has been served so far. We've not seen scapegoats. We've not seen how the judicial system is going to work to help the member of the public.
All right,
this is what people are clamoring for now.
Let's listen to Sheyi on this one. Sheyi, I mean, you really highlighted a strong point here, making reference to the criminal, justice system, saying that it's not really complementing, in a way, the efforts to a very large extent of the military. Now, I mean, I would like you to particularly expand on this area and with specific reference to the gaps in it.
Okay, so I think I also want to comment Femi. I know he mentioned some of the major points in his response just now. But let me quickly say this. You ended your prologue by saying that some people are advocating for expunging capital punishment in Nigeria. The downside of that would be that people will take laws into their hands. When you kill people and they know that you will not be killed, they will not wait for police to come. They want to kill the person so that police will come and carry the dead body. So let us know that. It's one of the reasons why we are still seeing people being handed over to the police, because they believe that there's a little chance that they might get deserved justice.
So are you in support of that capital punishment should remain?
You said what?
Are you in support that we should retain
100%
capital punishment?
100%.
Do you feel it will serve as enough? I'm sorry. Do you feel it will serve as deterrent in a way? Because I mean, if you look at some of these radical terrorists who have signed up to even die in the line of the job, has that deterred them from doing what they need to do?
How many people do we have that are that radical? Most people are into this because they see people around them with so much money, and they know they are into criminality, and they know that the laws are just there. Nobody's implementing the law. So the chance of the law catching up with them is so slim. That's why they are there. But the moment they know that the law is not there ready to bite, many of them will actually have a second thought. They will not go into it. Now, let me tell you this. When you spoke about a lawyer coming to say one of the reasons, to me, it's just like trying to give excuses, trying to help the governor, giving them a leeway or hiding spots. The fact remains that I have been to some of the prisons. I've had the prison chief warder mentioning the fact that the prison have not been able to replace those who have retired, and have been serving us, but not all of them. Number two, not long ago, the governor of Edo State then, Adams Oshiomhole, signed execution warrant, and some people were killed. Who carried it out? Hangmen under the federal prison system, which is what we operate. But what happened? Some people under the name of some CSO organization came out and start making noise, trying to make the governor to feel guilty. These same people, they were kidnapped. They are now saying that government is not working. Many of them, when they talk and try to criticize those things that we have, is for their belly. Their belly is their Lord. That is where they hit from, because they are CSO. The more they talk, the more money they get. And that's the fact. So to me, at times when I see some people trying to rise up and talk, and the moment something happens to them, they want to blame the government. So I ask them, so which side do you want to belong to? Coming back to our criminal justice system, the gap in it. How many courts do we have? How many judges do you have? Look at the number of cases that we have, especially killings around banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and the rest of it. The number of courts that we have cannot handle this. That's why you see many of these judges, are working, their heart out just to be able to close one case in 4 or 5 years. And all their schedules are filled. And that's why I've been calling for the president, setting up or getting the National Assembly to actually amend the Nigerian Constitution. if it is possible for them to amend the Electoral Act within few weeks, to change electoral appeal and to be concluded between 5 to 6 months, then it is possible for them to make cases around banditry, terrorism, and kidnapping to be concluded within 3 to 6 months.
All right.
Both the first court of trial and the second court of trial, under a special arrangement where there are going to be special courts that will be created for this, for those who are arrested with evidence in the course of this. They should, like these 2,000 that have been arrested for banditry, that court should be able to try them. And within 6 months, they are concluded, condemned, and then they are done with. When they are saying they don't have hangmen, have they put out adverts outside to say they are looking for hangmen, and they don't see? Do you know how many retired soldiers that have executed, enemy combatants in their lifetime? Do you know how many of them will come out to say they are signing up to become hangmen and they will go through the training?
Shay, we need to go on break.
Things that make us to look like we are not serious in this country.
Shay, we need to go on break.
Have you asked people?
We need to go on break. I know that, you are really, passionate about the security situation. But right now, let's just quickly go on a break. When we return, we will be looking at the issue of ransom payment and repentant terrorists. Stay with us. You're still watching Secure the Continent on News Central Television. My name is Dakwadegwe. And of course, we are still analyzing matters arising concerning the first quarter security report read by the Defense Headquarters as regards their achievement in the first quarter of the year 2024. We just, of course, put up a breakdown of some of these security achievements just a while ago. There you have it on the screen. Number killed, that's terrorists killed. Over 2,000 arrested terrorists, over 2,000 rescued, kidnapped hostages, little above 1,000 recovered ammunition there, and also weapons. There you have the details on your screen. The first quarter of 2024. I still have with me my guest. Gentlemen, thank you for holding on. Quickly before we run out of time, let me still stay with you, Shay. Let me, of course, you've spoken. Let me hear from you, Femi, on this one. What do you make of on the issue of ransom payment? We know that by law, the law doesn't actually support it, but we've seen peculiar situations where many of these victims have to sort of have some sort of backdoor arrangement concerning this. And vis-a-vis the idea of repentant terrorists. Even though we know that recently the president actually did highlight that kidnappers should be treated the same way you treat terrorists. So I would just like to know your take on these issues.
Okay, before I go on the ransom payment management, let me first talk about the repentant militants being arrested and being investigated and all the rest. The question is this: when they were caught in the act of these criminal activities, what exactly were they doing? Were they actually carrying weapons, or they were just being arrested in a wrong place at the wrong time, or whichever way we can call it? Those are the things we need to first look into, investigate, and make sure that we get that part very right before we tag them into whatever we want to tag them to be. However, let us now go into the real core one, which is the ransom payments. When people pay ransom, we've equally made it so easy these days that everybody can just kidnap anyone. Anyone can kidnap everybody, because they know the moment they just do one or two noise around, money will come out, whichever way. Recently, a lot of money seems to have been out from different accounts and being put together, contributed together to give to some certain set of people to pay ransom. However, I have equally proposed different strategy and ideas, not only to the police, not only to the military, but to the banks, especially the CBN. The CBN need to have a strategy of what they pay out or they give out, or in any of the banks, this is a security top solution that I can't really leave out. But the CBN, I will keep talking about it. The CBN and the banks, they need to have a strategy in place that will work and that will make this ransom payment a zero tolerance situation. But the question is this: are they ready to make it happen?
All right, let's quickly hear.
Again, are they ready to make it happen? If they are not ready, that simply means someone somewhere or set of people are actually benefiting from it.
All right, Femi, because we're pressed for time, let's hear Sheyi. Sheyi, 30 seconds.
Okay, number one, talking about repentant militants or bandits, those are the ones that came out of the forest on their own to surrender. And under Geneva Convention, there are certain things that is expected of us, whether we like it or not. When your enemies surrender to you, then you are supposed to protect them. So part of the process is for them to be radicalized and then be reintroduced back into the society for those that pass the test. We know that some of them will, but that is what is expected for us as a signatory to those conventions. The second part is when talking about, ransom payment. It has been something that has been fueling this act, this nefarious act for a long time. But thanks to the president, he has set the tone that no more ransom payment. And his position is very, very clear. Clear to the NSA, clear to the state governors, clear to the head of security agencies. So anyone that goes outside what the president has declared, then the person will be seen as committing a treasonable felony. Right. And I think that should resonate across board. Though I know it's going to be very difficult for individuals, but when we take the government agencies and government institutions out of the ransom business, I think it will go a long way in us resolving. The larger chunk of the money these guys are getting are from government. State government, we've seen governors, openly confessing, giving money to these people under different guys.
We need to go, Sheyi. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Dr. Sheyi Adetayo, security and intelligence expert from Lagos, and also Femi Aratukwale, security expert from London. Gentlemen, once again, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And that's a wrap on today's episode. Of course, the opinions of our guest remains theirs and not that of News Central. My name is Dakbo Adegboye. Stay safe. Bye for now.